Welcome everybody to another patch notes breakdown. This time it's the VShojo 10.5 update notes for Smite coming out on the 16th of May. And we have a whole new crossover. We got some other new skins, got a god update, got Conquest, Joust, Duel changes, just a bunch of stuff coming. So let's take a look, let's dive in and see what's going on. First of all, we have the VShojo New Gods crossover event. We're getting, Iron Mouse Persephone, Cyril Vale Scotty, Nainer Cirquet, Kason Nemesis, Nuwa, and Apricot Izanami. I have not got to see any of these in games. I will say the card art for them looks amazing. And, shout outs to Smite for being able to get a VTuber crossover going. I know some people have mixed feelings about this, but hey, this usually helps bring new players to the game. And new players means more players, better matchmaking. I don't know. There's a lot of things to go with that, but excited to see how this event goes and excited to see what these skins look like in game. There are the anime skins, like VTuber skins. I'm assuming these are going to be like the anime skins that we have in game. Look really, really good, so I'm excited. Our girl Artemis is getting a remodel, and along with that, that means you're going to have the classic Artemis skin, and then you'll have the reworked skins for all of her masteries, which are going to be pretty cool. Then we have Shackled Souled Ares, looking pretty good. Demon Dasher Naza, I'm really excited about this skin. And I'm also Twisted Gesture Toth. Excited to see all these wallpapers. If you want to check them out, can be found in the Community Resource Bank. There's actually a link for it in the patch notes. Anytime you need to use these lovely resources, you can go to the Community Resource Bank and find them there. I believe this crossover event with VShojo is going to be 2,400 gems, which is going to get you the 6 skins along with all the event cosmetics. For quality of life, obviously we're getting a new Artemis remodel. There's going to be some changes to the HUD for HUD updates, such as fix an issue where reset all wasn't resetting the opacity of elements. Console item store entire UI element is now larger. Console ability screen and ability pop-up have increased font size. Just a lot of fixes here. And I'm hoping, because I didn't see it listed, but I'm hoping when right now, if you go into Spectator, it resets your whole HUD. I'm hoping that's changed because that's really, really annoying as someone that's casting and spectating games. They added a into match lobby little flare on the commendation button, along with fixing some quick party stuff, and then RuneScape loadout, so you can go and actually preview the capes and that stuff is being added as well. So along with that, we're going to see some bug fixes. Some of these are achievements for console not working correctly or PC. They fixed a couple issues with the Maui ult on Conquest, being able to pull you into the basically vertical skybox, top of the map geometry. And then we see a variety of bug fixes. Set we'll be talking about a little bit later, but obviously most of these have to do with SPS issues, tooltips, things of that nature, and a few item changes where the tooltip wasn't correct for what the item was doing as far as percent pin. A couple of those. But we have to hop in, and we have some actual game mode balance being adjusted here. First off is Conquest. The setup time is going to be reduced by 20 seconds from 110 to 90, so kind of speed up those pregame lobbies. But now, if you take Fire Giant, Gold Fury, Pyromancer, the respawn timer for the enemy team, they don't have to walk up to that camp and get it. It will automatically be there on the map for them at all times. So that's a new thing being added. Obviously, this brings some clarity to the match. I'm a little bit... I don't know how I feel about this change, because part of me feels like you should have to step up and find out or keep track of the timer in game. But I know for newer players new to Conquest, this is a massively nice quality of life change. So I can see this going either way for competitive players and new players alike. The totem has now an in-world and minimap respawn timer. Pyromancer's minimap icon now displays when the runic bomb is available for pickup. If you haven't seen some of my cast, we watched a team one night, I think, not pick up 3 different runic bombs. So knowing that the runic bomb is there is going to be feeling pretty good that you can see it on your map. They also decreased the delay before the Pyromancer's runic bomb reward can be picked up from 1 second to 0.5 seconds. And Tower Bastions now have a smaller health bar that displays their exact HP value. So that's pretty cool. Joust and Duel, they increased the setup time from 45 to 60 seconds, and they increased the base spooling of gold from 6 to 7. So things to keep out there. But now we have some major Joust changes. So this is just all across the board. Starter items are gone. Joust, if you've played a lot of it, whether it's casual or ranked, you tend to see 2 tanks, 1 DPS. So they're obviously aiming to kind of change this a little bit. So it's going to go back to the Chinese Joust map. Starter items are gone. They decreased the XP sharing from 0.75 to 0.55, and contestable XP camp replaced with a purple void camp. And this purple void camp grants 15% attack speed, and basic attacks reduce the target's god protection by 2% plus 2%/1% of your physical magical power, depending on which of those are in that order, from items for 3 seconds. It stacks up to 3 times. Your blue buff, or your mana camp, grants 15 MP5 to you and nearby allies within 55 units. Hitting an enemy god with an ability restores 4% of your missing mana. This can only occur once per ability cast. Red buff, damaged, nothing changed about this. If you don't know what it is, it's 5 physical, 10 power, and 20% of either of those. Towers and Phoenixes. Tower and Phoenix shots apply a protection shred debuff to gods that last 3 seconds. This stacks up to 3 times. That's negative 8% of physical prots and negative 6% of magical prots. And they actually increase the physical power of the Tier 1 tower from 170 to 235. Tier 1 tower in Joust is going to be a slapping. Lane minions, they increased the base health, power, and protections. They increased the damage multiplier versus gods by 0.6 to 0.8. And their gold reward got spooled up for each of them. I'm not going to go into all that because more than likely you probably aren't paying too much attention to that. Buff camps, they actually decreased the XP reward and gold reward from those pretty significantly. XP reward from 185 to 90, gold reward from 65 to 35. Same thing with the buff guards, went from 22 to 30 on XP, and gold went from 13 to 12. Duel specific changes. Duel's actually getting some changes as well. There's going to be a dual orb now, which I'm actually excited about. I think this is a super cool idea. Gods now drop a dual orb pickup on death. That pickup remains on the ground for 5 seconds before expiring. The dual orb grants a buff for 15 seconds. Your movement speed is increased by 20%. Basic attack stun towers and phoenixes for 3 seconds and bypass 50% of the backdoor protections. This is going to speed up some games and really make it to where if you get a kill, you're going to be able to push a little bit. If you haven't been in those very long duel games, they can be quite frustrating. So excited to see this change. I think it's good overall. The damage camp, the buff guard small tiger, they increased the base health from 90 to 250. XP camp, this camp now spawns 3 small tigers, and each small tiger gives decreased XP reward from 75 to 30, and the gold reward from 13 to 12. As far as items, that's where we're heading in next. Those were all the game mode changes, item changes, percent damage mitigation stack. So damage mitigation is now going to have a cap of 25%. If you haven't had to fight against the mitigation build that was running rampant probably about 2 patches ago, it's kind of fell off since then. It was a pain in the butt, so now they have fixed it a bit. They're going to add a cap to that. I don't know how I feel about this change because I think if you're going to spec into that, like you're losing things on the other side of specking into mitigation. So I'm not sure this needed to change, but maybe it helps deal with the power creep idea. And I don't know. We'll kind of see how this plays out. Reading through it, I think you could leave it alone and the game's fine, especially with the decrease in penetration in general and the decrease on power for crit items. I think, we kind of see how this plays out. But I do think this is a significant change, and I think we'll kind of see that and how it goes. So percent damage mitigation is now capped at 25%. God abilities that provide percent damage mitigation will not stack with items, so they're separate. Items are separate from the gods. If you gain percent damage mitigation from gods and items at the same time, only the larger value will be used. God abilities that provide damage mitigation have 0 cap. There is no cap on those whatsoever. So if you have 25% from items, then you use Baron ult and gain 35%, you will actually have 35%, not 60. They are not going to stack together. It takes whatever the larger amount is and only uses that. If you have 25% from items, then use a rank 1 Ravana ult, gaining 10%. That 10% will have no effect. Notable exceptions are Aegis Amulet, which will always make players damage immune, 100% damage mitigation, and Osiris passive, which provides unique magical and physical mitigations, not overall mitigations. So Osiris passive is not affected by the cap or item versus god rules. these would stack as usual. So Osiris may be on the rise. But again, I'm kind of confused about this change. You're capping it and making it where it doesn't work with god abilities. I feel like gods that had the stacking mitigation, obviously Ravana was a abuser of the mitigation build, but we haven't seen Ravana really pop off super hard. I've seen him in some comp games for Albion Giants League, but it wasn't anything insane that you couldn't fight against. So something to watch out for. Bloodforge, reverted, baby. It's back to being 2,600 gold, 75 physical power, 10% physical life steal, 7% movement speed, and getting that shield when you get a kill. They noticed that when they nerfed it, it is completely dropped off, and Devos was king. So I'm curious to see how this goes, because I think bringing it back where the physical power on this and Devos is the same will bring back that build variety. Their obvious reasons for the revert are listed here. They said this item was shown in the right place for a revert before it was most recent balance arc. It was a popular casual item, and there isn't anything wrong with that. Bloodforge had an identity and a following, but was only rarely spotted in the Conquest meta. So we set out to change it. It sure did become meta and the single next most popular item in the game due to its viability on multiple classes. Even after a few rounds of nerfs, it's still extremely popular, but we are seeing the feedback that the item has lost its identity and is overbearing due to its stat spread. We're reverting the item back to its traditional state, but a small nerf to stay in line with the lifesteal changes in 10.4. We expect this item will still be popular with this design and less frustrating. In other words, there's no attack speed on it anymore. So now the attack speed's gone on it. We'll see how this item plays out. I think this brings it back and, makes it a popular jungle item for sure. Breastplate of Regrowth nerf. Obviously, if you're a healer, this item was great for you. They just increased the cost by 150 and nothing more. Canine Cures buff. Obviously, if you haven't seen this, you probably haven't. I've seen it a couple times because we build tested it. But supports builds are difficult to mix up. Over the years, we have created a few items that are strong and specifically tuned for that class. Canine Cures has a lot of potential, but certainly needs some tuning and some meta shifts to make it an option. So they want to make it cheaper, and they're going to help with its lane clear. So they're decreasing it by 100 gold, and then the passive will now increase damage per level from 5 to 10. They're going to decrease the gold provided from 25 to 15. They're going to decrease the cooldown from 20 seconds to 7 seconds. A massive buff, by the way. The passive on this item, in case you didn't know, is your next successful basic attack on an enemy lane minion causes it to explode, instantly killing it, dealing 50 plus 10 per level magical damage to enemies in a small area and providing 15 bonus gold to your nearest ally. This can only happen once every 7 seconds. I think this item's super good, especially now. I think it was already in an okay place. I think this bumps it to where you have to think about maybe this is an item that could be built, especially if you're playing in an aggro lane where you could clear a little bit and help out your ADC. I expect we see a little bit of Canine Cures after this patch. Is it going to be super meta? I don't think so. Is it going to be viable? Absolutely. Phalanx buff, another new item that didn't quite make the mark for meta. So now with this item, you're going to gain some of the buff effects that ally minions obtain with each stack. Passive. When your basic attacked by an enemy god, you and friendly lane minions within 40 units gain a stack up to max of 3. Stacks provide 10% attack speed, so it could stack up to 30%, and 7 of each protection. In other words, 21 of each protection if you get all 3 stacks, and that lasts for 8 seconds. Minions gain double the effects from each stack. Stacks cannot be gained more than 1 per second. That is insanity. I think Phalanx might be on the rise. I think this is a crazy item early on, and I'm curious to see if we see some plays with this in support. They created this for warriors. I'm just curious to see how it goes, especially at AA warriors. This might go nuts in solo. Stone of Gaia buff, they decreased the cost by 150, and they decreased the cooldown from 20 seconds to 15 seconds. Spectral Armor got a shift, and this is honestly needed. They reworked the passive. The aura is now allied gods within 55 units take 30% reduced bonus damage from physical critical strikes. The passive is now when you get hit with a critical strike, you gain 15 physical power and 20 magical power, stacking up to 3 times and lasting 6 seconds. So the aura is now automatic. It goes to your allies no matter what. It's not based off a passive crit hit onto you. Along with that, we have a War Flag Shift. This now item provides gold per enemy, minion / jungle monster assist rather than requiring having the lowest gold on your team. Hopefully this brings War Flag up a little bit on the support item list, but we'll just have to see. I mean, I love War Flag, but it's never really had a true identity. There was like a month last season where playing Finra with War Flag or some Assassins with War Flag was really, really good, and then it died. They killed it. Okay, now for the gods. Gods, we're going to keep this pretty good here. Hell, getting nerfed. They decrease the self and ally heal on restoration / decay from 55 to 115, now to 45 to 105, plus 4 per level. Inspire / repulse. Decrease the self heal scaling from 6.5 per level to 5.5 per level, and decrease ally heal from 7 to 15, now 6 to 14 scaling by plus 0.9 per level. This ally healing is halved for minions, which is pretty important. Hercules nerf, thank the heavens. Holy dude, this god's been dumb. So excited to see him nerfed. Driving Strike now has a cooldown of 12 seconds instead of 11. Earthbreaker now has a increased cooldown of 12 seconds from 11. So, I'll take the 1 second on each of those. Hercules is a dumb god and deserves more nerfs. That's my TED Talk. If you have problems with that, or you like it, leave comments below. Let me know. But I am a Hercules hater, so sorry. Horus, the Protector Surge now has an increased cooldown from 10 seconds to 13 seconds. Saw that coming. That was a crazy change a couple patches ago. Love seeing a lot of Horus, but that ability can be absolutely frustrating. Vamana nerf, oh my goodness, if you have not played against Vamana in solo or / jungle, mostly jungle, this god is dumb. His kit is bloated on the ult. So clear the path, increase the cooldown from 15 to 16 seconds, and then Colossal Fury. Okay, listen to all the changes here. Decrease physical power gained from 60 to 100 scaling to 45 to 85 scaling. In other words, taking 15 off each level. They also fixed a bug where his ability was providing a base amount of shield per tick rather than a percentage of Vamana's maximum health. Vamana now gains 0.75% of max health per tick. Introduced a shield health cap of 1,000 health. That is a massive shield, but needed to be nerfed. Daji getting a buff. Trickster Spirit's cooldown is now scaling downwards. It was 17 flat before. It's now 17 scaling to 15. Hachiman buff. All right. We've talked a lot about Hachiman on my stream and my feelings about Hachiman. Love Hachiman. His kit's garbage. And mostly not his kit. I take that back. I'm sorry, Hachiman. His one is garbage. And his passive needed to be worked. And, well, we're getting these things. All right. His passive now has MP5 decrease from 0.3 per level to 0.2 per level. But now Hachiman now gains attack speed per stack. 2% plus 0.1 per level for each stack. 20% attack speed at level 20 at max stacks. That's really, really good. Eagle Eye, they increase the damage from 10 to 30 scaling plus 110% of your basic attack damage to 20 to scaling to 60 plus 120% of your basic attack damage. I mean, this is a good change to Eagle Eye. I just don't think that ability, I still don't think that ability is going to be really, really good. I think you grab like 1 tick of it early on, maybe after you hit, like, you don't even need it early. Like, very rarely do you see someone escape because you didn't hit him with Eagle Eye. We'll have to see if that changes. I just think this ability alone is the one that needs the rework. I'm happy to see the passive change. I've been talking about that on the Bot G podcast and my stream. So very excited to see this change, see how it feels. Heavenly Banner, they increased the damage that was 85 to 305 scaling, now 95 to 315, so everything by 10. I'm excited about this Hachi change. I'm just hoping that it's enough to bring him at least a little bit back in the meta. Jormungandr buff, Consuming Bellow, they increased the cooldown from 13 to 12 seconds. Submerge, they fixed an issue where Jormungandr would lose movement speed provided from this ability when revealed from stealth. They also decreased the cooldown from 16 to 12 scaling to 14 to 12 scaling. So a little bit earlier on, going to be able to use that a little bit more often, which is going to feel pretty good. Oleron buff, Overflowing Divinity, increased the base damage from 60 to scaling to 120, 70 to scaling 130, basically increased everything by 10. Osiris, increased base AP 5 from 6 to 9. Increased base physical prots from 23.8 to 25.2. Such strange numbers. Spirit Flail increased the damage from 80 to 300 scaling, 90 to 310 scaling, so 10 every level. And you already heard about the mitigation change not affecting Osiris. This god is going to be on the rise. I don't know if it's going to be in jungle or it's going to be in solo or both, but let's just say there's a lot of potential to see this god So watch out for the Osiris in your games. Set change. Shift. Let's go, baby. Love me some set. Sandstorm had a bug that would cause an issue with the cooldown after the teleport. So now they fixed that to where it actually works correctly with CDR. And they decreased the cooldown from 14 seconds to 10 seconds. I am super excited about this. I love Set, and I am excited to play him, even if it's ADC. So watch out for Set. Soul decreased the cooldown from 13 seconds to 11 seconds on Radiance. Obviously, after some changes early on, Mage ADCs have kind of fallen off. I think Soul's not bad. I think Soul's in a pretty good place. And honestly, with item shifts, I'm surprised we haven't seen more of her. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen more of her and Freya, but maybe that changes here soon. Sung Wukong buff, Magic Cudgel increased base damage from 90 to 250 scaling, now 100 to 260 scaling, so 10 each level. Sylvanas, Wisp, they increased the minion effectiveness from 25% healing and damage to 35% healing and damage, so by 10%. And then Nature's Grasp, they decreased the cooldown, starting at 17, going down to 13 seconds, now 14, going down to 12 seconds. Tier buff, this is massive, by the way. Lawbringer, Tyr now has an additional benefit based on the stance he is in. Guard, Tyr now stuns enemies hit for 1 second on landing. Assault, Tyr deals 25% increased damage from this ability if used from assault stance. Wow. You're going to be seeing some Tyrs in your game, and they're going to want to run it down. As far as non-conquest balances, buffs, Kuzenbo, negative 5% damage taken. Oleron, negative 10% ultimate cooldown. Nerfs, Atlas got plus 5% on non-ult cooldowns, plus 10% on ultimate cooldown. Horus got plus 5% damage taken. Nemesis, negative 10% non-ult CDs, and negative 5% damage taken. And that is it for the 10.5 patch. I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know what you guys think below, what you guys want to see coming up in the next patch for bonus balance, or what you want to see in 10.6. I hope you guys are having a good May thus far. And that's it for Patch Notes Breakdown. Make sure to support Mental Health Awareness Month. Check out Guardian's Mental Health. If you're interested in donating, you can do that on my stream. Guardian Mental Health is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. They send out mental health kits for free to those that apply for them. So make sure to check out all the Guardian's Mental Health content over the next month. Check out the Up Your Experience podcast. Check out BotG, Battlegrounds of the Goddess Smite podcast. And last but not least, shout out to my boys over at Simping for Senpai podcast. Check them out as well. Ash Bash and Psychotics and the crew. We love to see them. Hope you guys have a great time. See you later and catch you on the next one. Bye.